Hello, I'm Lisa Green from the BMC documentation team, and I want to share some tips about installing BMC Remedy Action Request System version 8.1. Before you begin, ensure that your environment is compatible with this version. See the product availability and compatibility information at the BMC Support Central site. Click these links and enter your support user ID and password. Then enter BMC Remedy to find AR System Server and enter a version number. Also review the BMC Remedy AR System documentation at docs.bmc.com. To access the site, log in with your support ID and password. The planning, installing, and upgrading sections contain what you need to know to prepare for and install or upgrade BMC Remedy AR System. The installing section contains many topics to help you prepare for the installation. Topics include information about preparing your database. Another helpful topic is called Completing the Planning Spreadsheet. In the spreadsheet, you'll find a tab for each database. On each tab is a list of the fields that appear in the installer. You can gather the required information and save it on the spreadsheet. Then, when you run the installer, you can quickly enter the data you gathered by referring to your spreadsheet. Review topics about preparing your environment and preparing to install components and applications such as the mid-tier, approval server, and others. The upgrading section has similar preparation topics. It also has two upgrading paths, one for upgrading if you already have overlays, and one for upgrading if you don't have any overlays. Use the BMC Remedy Pre-Checker utility to validate your environment before you install or upgrade AR System. You can find this utility on the communities.bmc.com website. When running the installer, you will need the following key information, which you can get from your planning spreadsheet. You'll need the AR System server name alias. Enter the alias. Do not enter a fully qualified name. You'll need the port number. Select a unique port number that is not used by any other program. This port number must be greater than 1024. If you are upgrading, you should use the same port number that was used before upgrading. If you do not specify a port, the operating system assigns an available port each time the AR System server is started. You can also register with the port mapper. You'll also need the host name or IP address of the database server. The computer from which you are installing must be able to ping the name or address you provide. BMC recommends that you enter the short name of the server. If you enter an IP address and it changes later, you might encounter connection issues. Ensure that your database server and AR System server host are registered to the DNS, or Domain Name System. Next, you'll need the instance name. You'll need the AR System server admin name and password. You can use the default admin name demo or change it now if you are running a new installation. You can also change the name in the user form after the installation. You'll need the database administrator name and port number, the Java installation path, and passwords for the local DSO user, the application service, and mid-tier administration. You can change these values later in the BMC Remedy Administration Console, but if you are upgrading, use the same passwords that were used before upgrading. When you run the Suite installation program, you will select the type of installation that you want to perform. Your first option is AR System Server, which installs the AR System Server, Approval Server, Assignment Engine, Email Engine, and Flashboards. It also installs the various plugins, such as Area, LDAP, and Web Services. Another option is AR System Mid-Tier, which installs the BMC Remedy Mid-Tier and Crystal Web Application if a Business Objects 11 installation is available. And finally, on Microsoft Windows environments, AR System Clients, which installs BMC Remedy Developer Studio and the Localization Toolkit, BMC Remedy Data Import, and BMC Atrium Integrator Spoon. In version 8.1, you configure Email Engine, Full Text Search, and the SNMP agent after you install AR System instead of during the installation. To do that, open the appropriate configuration form from the BMC Remedy AR System Administration console. Under the System category, click Email for Email Engine configuration forms. Under the General category, you can click FTS configuration or SNMP configuration. We hope this video has helped you learn a little more about installing and upgrading to BMC Remedy AR System 8.1. Thank you for watching.